Hi, I'm Priyanka.
I'm Angeline.
I'm Rhonda.
And I'm Danielle.
And we're here to say something with Cheré, Girlfriends Edition.
Everybody's here now. We got something to talk about. Just have a seat, yeah, we're gonna talk it out. Say something, that's what we're gonna do. What's going on? Tell me
Okay, welcome to the set, ladies. I'm so excited to have you here on Say Something with Cheré. Let's talk about all the friendship, the girlfriends, the good and the bad and the ugly, because we definitely know all about it, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's just calm down and have some girlfriend talk. Okay? So what I want to ask you, the first question I want to ask you is, what makes you a good friend? Or even do you deem yourself a good friend right now in this season? And let's start with you, Priyanka.
What makes me a good friend? I'm very understanding. I understand when you can't make something. I just don't. I don't judge. I don't tell people's business. I don't gossip. I motivate my friends. I'm gonna shoot some spirituality to you. I'm gonna shoot you a scripture. I'm always there. You can always count on me. So that's what makes me a good friend.
What makes you a good friend, Angeline?
So, I am very honest, and sometimes that can be misconstrued, but I like to think that I am consistently who I am. And so you know that you're gonna always get Angeline, no matter what season I may be in, I'm gonna be true to who I am. So I think that's first, really key when you talk about friendships, because you don't want people that's gonna waver. Right. I am reliable, and I like to encourage and motivate my friends. I want to see you all succeed as much as you want to see me succeed, and I think that's the reciprocity that I look for in my friendships. But being authentic, being true to who I am, being empowering and uplifting, and then being honest across the board.
That's good. I'm going to come back to something that you said there. Danny, what makes you a good friend?
What makes me a good friend is I'm honest. Okay. I'm going to always have your back. I'm quiet. I'm a listener. Okay. So it's good to always just listen to your friend, instead of always being the one that, I'm going to listen. And I love hard. So I treat my friendship as like a relationship. Yeah. So if you call me, I'm going out. Okay, you better call me when you get in. Yes. So
you're caring. Yeah, absolutely. Rhonda, what makes you a good friend?
All of what they said.
Everything
of what they said. And I'm probably going to be your emergency contact. Okay. I'm going to be that friend that is going to be there when nobody else is. And I'm going to figure out how I can get there, even if it means putting more on my plate than I can handle. But I do echo everything else they said.
I like that. I think that what makes me a good friend as well is a compilation of everything that you all just said. And the one thing is you can depend on me. I'm dependable to show up, right? But then one of the things that I learned over the years in some people that I consider really close friends to me is that when you talked about being your authentic self, which we can connect to accountability, right? Because it's not always pretty. I'm gonna tell you something that you're not gonna like. I learned that it was my delivery that was offending my friends. And I would always say, well, she know I love you. She know I love her. Girl, you know I love you. You know what I mean. And it took her or them to tell me like, no, Cheré, some things that you say are just really harsh. And it hurts because it's coming from you. Yeah. But I'm like, I'm black or white. I'm not going to go in between. And it took me a minute. People used to refer to me as, strangers would meet me and say, oh, you remind me of Nene Leakes. Nene Leakes. Blunt. And while I like her, it began to me, it wasn't a compliment anymore because I was like, oh, I don't want to be that person. So I say all that to say, we know or we see ourselves as these friends, but have you ever taken a moment to ask your friends, what type of friend are you? And what did they say? Have you ever did that?
No. So I actually have one of my best girlfriends, known her for over 30 years, had a conversation with another friend and felt that my delivery was me being judgmental of her situation. And then to come back and say, but she was right. And so I don't take back what I said, but seeing and knowing now how it impacted her, because there's intent and there's impact. Absolutely. So the intent is to be honest, right? To tell you how we feel, to uplift you. But the impact may be, well, damn, why is she being so rude? Did she have to say it like that? You know, and so it's the fine line in that. And so to hear that she thought that I was being judgmental, it really broke my heart. And I actually struggled with, well, do I just give her a call and just see if she's willing to have that conversation with me versus just sharing it with someone else?
And did she?
No.
See, that's the thing too. Have you ever had a conversation with a friend and asked them, who do you see me as? Like,
I think I did a long time ago, but I've since changed. And I think it's time to ask, because there's some things that I've had to change about the way I'm friendships, the way I have friendships, like boundaries and letting you know I love you, but you can't come over this boundary. And being okay with if you walk away because the boundary offends you, being okay with that. I don't think that I was there before. You know, it's like, okay, you could just have reign in my life and you can come and go and say and do what you want because I don't want to lose you. But I've learned that I have lost myself in some friendships that I looked at as relationships as well. So learning how to set boundaries and being okay with telling my friend, this is a boundary for me. Not sure how you feel about it, but this is to keep me safe and keep me grounded. I think I do need to have that conversation.
yeah, I think it's a conversation that we should actually have. So before we wrap today, I'm going to ask each and every one of you, what type of friend do you see me as, right? And I'm going to ask probably a few of you as well. Or you get to ask me what type of friend I see you as, right? So that we're honest and raw. That's the only way people are gonna learn, they're gonna get it. Now you said something that was very important, very interesting. You said that I'm going to now have the conversation from where I am now and understanding that I now have boundaries. Well, the problem with that is, you know, people say, well, if there was a friend, friends don't leave. Friends never leave, you got them for all. But if you're now saying I have boundaries, and if you walk away, then what about what the backlash that comes with that to say you were never a friend then, if it was that easy for you to walk away?
Well, I said for them to walk away, not me. So for me to have the conversation is saying, I want to keep you. I want to keep you here, but I have to pivot in how we relate. And so if you walk away, I am well aware that having this conversation could make the person want to walk away because they don't want to. Then I have to accept that that was good for me, right? I need people in my life to tell me when I'm wrong and celebrate me, but also respect my space. And so if you walk away, I won't take it as you weren't the friend that I thought you were. I would just say your season is up. Some people come for seasons, reasons, and lifetimes. We make seasonal people lifetime people, and that's how we get disappointed. So expecting you to walk away or respecting you walking away, I will just have to say, okay, well, the season was up.
But you know, also to that point, and I think we had this conversation, it's how do you want us to show up for each other? Because it took me back to like the 5 love languages, right? In which it tells how you may want to receive love versus how you give love. And sometimes how we want to receive it, we want to give it in that same manner, and that person is not receptive to it. And so what I appreciated in that conversation that we had is that I'm the type of person where if you're ill, as an example, I'll call you to make sure you're okay. But then I won't bombard you. I'll call someone else like, okay, have you heard from her? Is she good? Because I feel like you're going to be inundated with calls, and I don't want to be another phone call. And so, but someone else may know, I want you to check on me every hour, and I'll respect that, and I'll send you a text or something, but it's understanding the nuances that make us all uniquely who we are and how we want to receive love in our friendships.
But that comes with communication, right? Because I don't know, you're gonna run and tell Angeline or Rhonda that Cheré ain't called and checked on me, and it's like, you never told me that you needed that from me as a friend. As a matter of fact, you're more standoffish, you're the quiet one, you don't need it, and I'm the type of person, I'm gonna tell you that I'm there for you, and you can call me when you need me, not even if, but when you need me, I'm there. But I'm not the one that's gonna call you every day, all day either, or 100 times a day. I'm probably not even the friend that's gonna call you weekly. For that, that's probably like the worst friend. I mean,
No, but see, for me, that's perfect. But when we do connect, it's like we pick up where we left off.
absolutely.
And so it's like we haven't missed a beat. And I have girlfriends for eons that were the same way. And that's what I appreciate. It's, I guess, understanding the psychology of people also. To take, like, you really have to take the time to get to know someone to understand those nuances. And so don't ever think you're a bad friend.
Thank you. Thank you. Especially your friends. That's something that we don't do. We don't really pay attention to the fact that we need to communicate on what's needed here, right? So that I can show up 100% for you. Or if I can remind myself not to show up for you at all, because you that friend that don't show up for nobody either. So it both ways, you know. I'm not the friend that's gonna sit up here. I'm not gonna sit up here and break my neck to prove to you that I'm your friend. As a matter of fact, if we're in those gray areas, then we're not friends, right? Because I don't want to every day be overcompensating to prove to you, like, hey, I'm the one, I got your back. No, I'm not gonna kill myself trying to have your back. It could crack for all I care. I'm not doing that. How you feel about that, Brianna? Because you sitting there like you want to jump out your seat.
I guess I have everybody in categories. I overlove, and I learned to stop people pleasing. You know, once I'm going to show you how I want to be loved, like birthdays and stuff like that. Like, you show up for me, you know, even if I can't make it, that's this, you know, a gift or something, you know, like, I'm not gonna forget those special moments. When I need to be there, I need to be there, but we all are working people, that type of thing. But if you're that person, I'm always inviting stuff and then you never show up or whatever, but those are the people that get me. Like, they never show up to your stuff, but they keep inviting you to their stuff. And I feel like you just want a gift. You just want something, you know what I'm saying? So, no, you know I'm that friend I don't show up empty-handed, so you know I'm gonna bring that. So no, I'm not coming to your stuff. So that's when I said, listen, because I have those people that's always inviting me to stuff. And I'm like, no, you don't show up to none of my stuff. You don't promote, you don't share in your story, you don't do anything. You're not supportive at all. Why are you here? You know, that kind of thing. So yeah.
Which goes back to what Rhonda said about, I need you to be there for me when I'm down, and I need you to also celebrate me. And I personally have a friendship that I have brought that to the table. And it really ended because of that over the years. I saw that. And they said that, I'm always there for you. And I was like, you're right. Every time I'm at my lowest, you were there. But when I began to rise and it was time to celebrate me, she never showed up. It was always an excuse. And that is when I began to research and look at, like, why is a person only there for you when you're down?
Gotta reevaluate.
But can never be there to celebrate you. And you don't want to look at them as jealous or whatever, you know. I've learned to just call it what it is. I'm not finna put tissue over it and pity pat it. No, I don't want to be the bigger person, okay? I want to show up for me. And if showing up for me means that I need to let you go, then baby, it was nice knowing you.
You love them from a distance.
Yeah, love them from a distance. Now,
Can I say something real quick? Priyanka says she put people in categories. And I learned in this past season, Apostle Frank was teaching about learn to sort people like laundry. When you can learn, oh, this friend is going to respond to gifts, but they're not going to respond emotionally, then don't expect emotional responses from them. And that's okay. That's them. So when I need an emotional response, I go to this friend. So, and that's in every relationship, learning how to put people in categories. And you said something about when to call a person and not. I lost my grandfather, and one of my very, very close friends never called me. She never called because she thought, Well, for her, when she lose someone, just fall back. And I'm like, no, if I'm sick, somebody died, I need y'all. Like, and I think because what upset me with that was I expected me out of her.
Yes.
Yeah. I expected her to be like me. I'm gonna be there for those sad moments and those celebratory moments. So when I'm sad, I need you there for me, and I'm just letting y'all know that now. That's, please take a note. I didn't tell you at this camera. Be there.
I think, Rhonda, I think you do that though. I think you sort and you do categories. I know like you have a situation coming up, and one of the things you said to me on the phone is, you were trying to determine who was going to be there, and you said, I just need someone there that can pray. And I felt like, well, all of us can pray, right? But then we look at a person's prayer life, who is more vocal, who has that right word, that right language, who is looking at covering me from the from the hospital door to the receptionist to the anesthesiologist. We're looking at everything. And so in that moment, it took me a minute, and then I was like, okay, I get where she's coming from, because you want somebody who really is speaking to God on a daily basis and knows how to pray for somebody else. I had to learn that, because I would pray, but it was always, God, I need, thank you for this, God. And it never involved anybody else, right? And then you learn over time, and it's like, okay, I'm praying for this friend, but now it's just when they need something. But now it's like, no, you're always calling out everybody around you, because everything attached to me is blessed.
So let me just say, when I reevaluated my friendships, I asked myself, what is different about this group than my other girlfriends? And one of the salient differences is that how we pray for each other. And I have not had that before. I mean, in text messages, on the phone, or, when we have our girls outing. And for someone who is still growing spiritually, that means the world to me. The world to me, especially when I think about one of my guilty pleasures is reality TV. And you see how like girlfriends are depicted on social media. I mean, in media, how they're always fighting and catty and the backbiting. And I'm like, but that's not our reality. And I think they need to see the other side of a holistic friendship. And it's out there.
I really think we need to really push that. I was going to go to another question, but you just brought up reality TV. And I want to talk to Priyanka, because that was one of the things that I really wanted to ask you about when you were on the show.
And that's how I met you.
And that's how I met Priyanka. I was doing red carpets and covering everything, and I just fell in love with your personality from the show. It didn't last long, but of course you could tell she stood out regardless. And she was the same in person when we hit the carpet. And it was Sorority Sisters, VH1, right? And it didn't last long because, of course, the national pan and sororities are just very strict. And it wasn't anything different from any other reality show. You just know how sororities and frats can be. And so you went through a very hard time when that show was canceled, and then everything that came after. So were you like suspended from Delta? And then you filed a lawsuit. We saw that in the blogs. And you still maintain who you were, never shy down at all. But I always wondered, as a sorority sister, what was the friendships like? Were they still there after the show was canceled, after you were removed from the sorority? Did you still have that sisterhood, or did they also band you? And what was that for you emotionally?
My line sisters were everything. I guess the difference when you pledge undergrad is different from just, no shade to anyone, just pledging after college or something like that. You go through things. My line sisters have my back. We still celebrate. Our anniversary's coming up and everything. We still celebrate together. They've always had my back. They were cussing people out on social media. And everybody that was just acting crazy on social media, they all come back and apologize. I won my lawsuit. I mean, everything worked out in my favor. So, but yeah, everything worked out. You have your backlash and stuff. And everybody goes through those moments. Like, everybody wants to be famous, but they don't understand that people are going to be on your Twitter, your social media, just attacking you, how you look, your weight, the way, everything. So you just have to really be comfortable in your own skin. And I've been like this my whole life through dance, cheerleading, and everything. I've always big hair, big fun. So nobody can turn me down. I knew who I was before I got on the show, hence why they picked me, to be that person on this show. So a lot of people don't understand reality television until you get behind the scenes, and I'm sure you know a little bit about the behind the scenes and stuff. Some of them girls are probably friends behind the scenes, if that makes sense, but you have to have a story. But yes, me and the castmates, we're close. Okay. All of us are close. Me and my line sisters, we're still close. Nothing has changed. A friend is a friend, we talk to each other behind sets even before we film, like, look, we're not gonna let this tear us apart. Because I'm a female, and my thing is we go through things as a female. Why am I gonna make your life harder? We go through things internally within our bodies, and then we go through things with men, relationships. Think about if you're a powerful woman, you're making great money. I'm in sales, so, I can literally look at something and say, hey, I want that, and then buy it, that kind of thing. So you go through things in corporate America, people trying to tear you down. Look at these nails. They want me to just be plain Jane, and that's not me. So I do what I need to do so nobody has to say anything to me. So you're going through all of these things in life. Why tear another female down, if that makes sense? So, yeah, you're gonna have people that don't like you or whatever, but just don't change. Be who you are, and they see that even when people come to your social media, like, you haven't changed, you're still the same person. No, you can't let something like that change you. So,
Like, you haven't changed at all. So, are you back with Delta?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
you're
everything.
back in a sorority
Yes.
now.
Yes.
Okay, well, good for you. I'm just so happy. This is what you get all the time from you, and I believe that really plays a part in your victories and the favor of God on your life, because you are a praying woman. So, and one of the things that Priyanka has a prayer group. On our group text. She just put me in this prayer group with people that I do not know. And what we call it, the Jesus the Jesus lovers. I think my daughter looked at my phone one day, she's like, Jesus lovers. And it is so encouraging. And I don't reply all the time. Priyanka doesn't look for us to reply, but she sends out words of encouragement. Sometimes it'll be consistently for every day for a month, or it'll be sporadically, but it's right on time. And it just really encouraged me that I have a friend who actually is tapping in, sending us scriptures, and even breaking down those scriptures, like taking the time to write this out and send it in a group. And then we all, like, of course, reply. But the fact that you take the time and pour into us, and sometimes I'm like, I need to send Priyanka a scripture or something, because
just you saying amen, like you received it, I don't care.
Try to, respond. So with that, then, as a friend, where do you pull from to get your strength to pour into your other friends?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes when I put scripture in a book, I be going through some stuff. So I be hoping that maybe it helps somebody else. Like, and I guess it could be God just saying, hey, do this, or I haven't posted in a while, let me throw this out there. But sometimes I can be going through something and put it in there, and then it just makes me feel good when somebody be like, oh my girl, I needed this. It's right on time. I'm like, girl, I needed it too. Because they don't understand that you're going through things too. Because some people, when they look at your life on social media, oh my God, her life is just perfect. Because we post our highlights. Every now and then we might post, when we're going through something, but we have a win first. And then we'll talk about the bad stuff. We never just post the bad, like, I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling defeated, or whatever. We never do that. We post the bad after a win and say, hey, in 2019 or 2020, I went through it. We don't just post the bad stuff. So,
So then I have a question for you. Yeah. So being on that thread, and how she just expressed that sometimes she shares scriptures that's a reflection of what she's going through. Mm-hmm. So have you ever looked at any of those posts and thought, man, what is she actually saying in the post?
Never. No.
That's a different outlook. Like,
I never looked at it like that. I looked at it as you encouraging your friends around you. But when you think about it, preachers and pastors, they say, I'm preaching to myself, just like I'm preaching to you. First. So that's a good point. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, friends. No, I'm so bad. I knew it. And you have to call me out.
You are not a bad friend. It doesn't make you a bad friend.
Oh my gosh.
No, you don't think about it. Yeah.
Because we're so consumed and caught up. I'm not gonna cry on this episode, but I'm gonna cry on this episode. But we're so consumed in what we have going on. I never thought that. Has anybody on the thread ever came back and said,
No, they just say, I needed this, and I figured we all going through it, because sometimes like it's some stuff that money just can't fix. It's stuff that you're going on in the inside. It might not be family, but it's just emotions and stuff. Sometimes you be feeling like, even though you're doing good, I'm not where I want to be. This is where I thought that my life would be at a certain age. And then you have the pressures for society. I'm in my 30s. I don't have kids. I'm not married. So you have the pressures for society, always telling you, oh, you got this career, you got everything. Now it's time to have a kid. And it's like, oh my, when I'm ready, leave me alone. So you have pressures and just different things that you go through, or friendships or relationships that didn't work out. It's other things that we go through, weight gain, anything, that you're going through.
I'm writing that down. I'm going to start.
I would just say, I think that is the ultimate definition of selflessness. Because when you're going through something, you're sending out scriptures, words of encouragement to other people, and they're receiving it, but you are the one going through it, if that makes sense. So in an act of selflessness, you're still pouring into other people.
No, but my misery don't like company. If I'm feeling like crap, I don't want you to feel like crap with me, But I'm not finna drink my words away either. Sometimes you have to deal with your stuff. So I'm not offended if you don't reach out, because sometimes I need to take a minute. If I just need to cry in my room, give me a day, You don't have to blow my phone up. I'm not that friend that you have to check on all the time. We know when we see each other, we good. No love is lost. We catch up. Girl, okay, let me catch you up to what I got going on. You don't have to call me every day because we work and I understand, And if you can't make it, if I can't make it to something, please don't charge it to my heart, because sometimes I might say, yeah, girl, I'm coming. And then when that day comes, I need this sleep. I really do need this sleep. Or I really do just need, I got too much going on. I got to finish work or something like that. So don't charge it to my heart. But if I just don't show up to nothing, then, charge it to my heart. But I mean well, because sometimes you might text me something. I'm like, yeah, girl, I'm coming, And then when it comes, it's just too much, so yeah.
Yeah, I would call you out on that, but I won't. Yes, I will. So, no. It just takes me back to when we were talking about, you got to know your friends. Mm-hmm. So I do a quarterly outing with our friends, our girlfriends, and it's every quarter, and we look forward to it. And one of the quarters, Priyanka just did not show up. And I put a lot into these quarterly outings, right? I mean, it just makes me so happy to be with y'all and to love on y'all. And Priyanka didn't show up. Now, normally, anybody knows me that you got one time.
Yes, one time.
You got one time. And I was like, okay, that was Priyanka. And what did I think? I text you, or a couple days you text me, was like, friend, I'm so sorry I missed it. And I was like, girl, it's okay, because I know you. I know your character. So I wasn't even upset that you didn't show up. I wasn't worried that something might have happened either. I'm a bad friend.
No, you're not.
I just, you're right, words have power. I'm an amazing friend. Yes. So, but I just automatically excused it or overlooked it because I know your character and I know the history that we have. And I'm like, that ain't Priyanka. So either she didn't feel like coming, didn't want to tell me she wasn't coming, because we have talked about some outings and it's like, girl, I don't have the energy for that space. So forgive me, I'm not coming. So that was, I like that you said that. You just might not come.
Well, I'm glad I put it out there.
Danny, I want to ask you, because you're real quiet on the set. And
I'm listening,
You're
yes.
the listening friend. So with all that we've talked about, is there a relationship or friendship that you wish that you could go back and reconcile?
Yes, it is a great question. And I'm not gonna cry. I told you I was not gonna cry. No, the big key is communication. And I think it was no communication on that particular person, her side and my side. Like you have to hold yourself accountable too. Like, maybe I should have called. But when you haven't done anything, well, why should I call? I didn't do anything. And like Cheré said earlier, I'm tired of being a bigger person. I have to always be a bigger person. So I think, and then with my business, I think what God elevate me with my business, I think I lost some friends. So I'm like,
We'll talk about that.
yes. So I think I would go back and change it because she's like family. I think I would love to go back and talk about it. Like I say, communicating, that was the key that we both didn't communicate. She's communicating with other people, but not that person. Like you say, oh, Angeline can call Rhonda and say, oh, she didn't call me, but you didn't call me. So
Right.
I'm like, so let's, yes.
Was it the busyness of your business?
No, I don't think so.
Is there something stopping you now from picking up the phone, like once we leave here on your drive home, and just say, hey?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm leaving it to God. I think.
So when God tells you to call, or when God tells her to call you, you feel
Then
like.
I think I'll be ready.
But why do you want to reconcile the relationship?
Because it's just family. We grew up together, and why? Yeah.
But these are questions that we really, at some point, need to reflect on to get an understanding, so we can either to determine how we want to move forward in that relationship, but then also it will help to understand how to move forward in other relationships.
Yeah. Because the thing is, the thing that bothers me or worries me the most, and because I'm the protective friend, everybody knows I am very territorial over my friends. Nobody else can have them. So, and I'll fight. So
another friend, you're cheating.
you're cheating. If I find them out with another friend, they done cheated on me, and we got problems. And I have no problem filing for divorce.
Thread of it, yes.
Yeah.
Rhonda's the one that's always guilty
Rhonda's
of it.
always cheating. Rhonda always cheating. She is a cheater. And she tried to always make it sound nice. Oh, this person they didn't need you. They didn't need you. They didn't need you. But I think the problem is we want to reconcile. There's so many reasons why we want to reconcile, right? And then part of that is to be the bigger person.
And I think to move forward as well.
Okay.
I think that's why I want to reconcile, so I can move forward.
I'm not trying to talk you out. Don't y'all come for me. I'm not trying to talk her out of reconciling, okay?
I think it really is important to know when seasons are up, though. Because you can hold on to. I did this analogy one time of holding on to a rope, like tug of war, and you're holding on to something so long that you need to let it go that it's starting to lacerate your hands. And I'm not saying this is for you to decide. I'm not saying either way, but I'm just saying the reason, because we're like family or we've known each other long enough, we just didn't ask the right questions, but to see what value it added to your life. Because there's relationships that I've had to let go of from the past that I didn't want to, but they were lacerating my hand. And so you want to ask yourself those questions. If I reconcile this relationship versus letting go of something that could be dead, what value is it going to add to me and that person's life to make sure that I'm not resurrecting dead things that's going to kill off the new seeds that are coming up? So that I was just, wanting to have you think about that, just in your desire to resurrect some things. Like I've had to resurrect a friendship, right? One that got bruised, but it was hard, but the friendship, we reconciled, but it's not the same. Absolutely. And I went in that meeting knowing that it may not be the same, and it may not even be healed, and I'm okay with that. But I wanted to give the opportunity. I love you enough to say, this hurt me, and I apologize if that hurt you. Right. It is what it is at this point, whatever we do with it. And so, but again, I walked into that situation knowing it may be dead as a doorknob.
Right.
And I was okay with that. I had peace with that, so that I had no expectation that would hurt me if it didn't turn out a way that I thought.
And that's the key, having expectations to know that it may go one way or the other. Really is.
But I like we said about the value part, and that's the matrix that I use now, is what value are you adding to my life? And if you're not, then I'm okay with letting the relationship fizzle out however it may. And then it's, well, what value am I adding to your life? Because if I'm not adding value, then I'm okay with letting the relationship fizzle out, unless it's someone that I, may feel is worth keeping around, and then having that conversation like, well, how can I be better service to you, or how can I show up in your life? But yeah, that value metrics is key.
Do you think it's worth having a conversation with every friend? So like you just said, if I'm not adding value to you, you're not adding value to me. Let me just back away. Let me phase out of your life. Do you think it's worth having that conversation with them, or is it better to just let the cards fall where they may?
I think if you're going to see that person, that type of thing, you need to have a conversation. But if you're never really going to see that person, I don't think it's a need for a conversation. But to go back to what we talked about for the people that's always inviting you to stuff, I'm just being honest. I had to check a couple of people, like, you don't ever show, sometimes you have to let people know. And it's not a guilt trip, but I have to let you know, hey, sis, I would love to support you, but you don't show up to none of my stuff.
There it is.
And then the response that I got, oh my God, it's not intentional. What is it, sis?
Mistake?
Yeah, I just be, what is it? So I feel like some people, you do need to let them know what they're doing. You can't, because my sister, she's non-confrontational. Out of relationships, that she's never gonna let you know what you did or anything. You have to let people know what they did so they can apologize, And I'm working on my forgiveness as well, and I think I'm more receptive to forgiving when I actually feel like you're sorry. Like, it was a girl, one of my line sisters, I introduced her to my church. She started going to my church, and she did something really, really foul. But the next time I saw her, and I'm gonna be honest, I had to be God, because when I saw her in my church, I said, oh Lord, you're gonna have to work on me. You're gonna have to work on me. But when she saw me, she just cried. She burst out in tears, and I couldn't be evil. I just had to go up to her and hug her, and I knew it was God messing with me. I know, not messing with me, but like, you need to forgive her. You need to forgive her. And I just hugged her, and she just told me, and I missed out on so much of her life, her first child, everything, and she was just telling me all the bad stuff she was going through and stuff, and I just couldn't have all of them feelings melted away, and all the love just came back. And it had to be God, because when I saw her, I'm like, oh, yeah, don't you say nothing to me. But she really was sorry. She really, really was sorry. So give people that grace a little bit. I get it, we're human, and we're like, I don't need you, that kind of thing, but give people that grace. Let them know what they did. And if they try to, this is how I determine if I'm gonna cut you off. If I'm telling you how I feel and then you're telling me, well, I shouldn't feel this way because of this, then I know I need to excuse you because you don't care about my feelings or anything like that. So.
But not only that, if you tell them and then they don't make the change.
That too. You got to give them a chance to make the change, but your response.
How long is the chance? Right. We're talking 72 hours, 72 days. How long are we gonna give them?
Just give them a chance. If okay, say it's the conversation about not showing up, and then the next time you invite them and they don't show up, well, this is a pattern with you, so it's time to excuse you. But give them the chance to make up for right their wrongs and make up. Because I had a couple homegirls, they did that same thing, not showing up for special events and stuff like that. But they, you come to all of theirs, work, rain, sleet, or snow and stuff. But you have to give that person that opportunity to, change and apologize too. Because I can't show up. It's impossible. I have so many friends. I have people from high school. It's impossible for me to show up to everything.
And when your circle of friends are doing great things.
Yes.
I was like, I can't support everything.
You'll be
that God
broke.
put in- I'll be broke.
You be broke.
'Cause this is my
Yeah,
business.
so.
I can't. Like, I'm gonna be broke, and then don't expect me to support every little idea that God dropped in your spirit, because He told you to go get some business funding. He didn't tell you to come to me. I'm not buying every T-shirt, every book, every song. I'm not. No, He didn't tell you to tell me that. So, but I have friends or associates who really expect that. And guess what? My social media is not a walking billboard. So I'm not gonna post every flyer, everything that you put out, and expect me to post it for you, because I don't expect you to do it for me either. As a matter of fact, when God gave you that vision, He gave you a whole audience. And it probably wasn't your friends and family. He gave you the people who need to hear you. And so I had that conversation with Priyanka, because God is still working with me with the whole grace thing, right? Y'all know that. Or y'all know that. Look at y'all smiling. Because I don't like a person to do me bad, because I'm a 100,000%, right? And so it's like, when you do me bad and you show me that, and I'm probably gonna give you 2 chances, like 1.5. But once I see it, I'm not gonna walk through that door, and you're gonna miss out on the opportunity of having access to me. And then you're gonna be sitting over there wondering why, but I'm not the friend that's gonna come and talk to you about everything either, especially if I have not invested time in you. Yeah. If I don't feel like you're a friend that I've invested time in, you're not even worth me coming to talk to you to see what happened. It happened, and it is what it is, and I wish you the best. And then that probably make them feel some kind of way too, but I've been accused of not supporting a certain person, but it's like, that's not my area, right? So your area is beauty and fashion. Your area, or what just so happened, we're both domestic violence. You have multiple areas because of what you do. Your focus is on a lot of things, but you zone in on women. So, and then you have an area. Do you do domestic violence? What do you focus on when it comes to like
For women, breast cancer.
Breast cancer.
And of course, my business,
Of
the
course,
bling.
yeah, the bling. But so then if you decide to garden, or you have another area and then you want me to constantly wear this garden stuff, that's not my area, sis. Like, find somebody else in that, because I don't want to buy a closet full of garden stuff when it doesn't pertain to me. My area respected is domestic violence. That's where I advocate for. That's my advocacy. Respect that. I'm not going to push all this domestic violence on you, because one, I know it's heavy. It's too heavy for some people. Nobody want to hear that all the time.
Heck, it's heavy for us.
It's heavy for us. So imagine that, but to accuse me of not supporting because I'm not walking around with your clothes on, your paraphernalia, because I would donate, and I have done that, but it's just never enough. And do I feel the need to go and talk to that person? No, I don't. I just remove myself. And so I'm probably being talked about, but that's the grace that God is working with me on, because if I saw them, I wouldn't even care that they were crying. Like, I would just say, bless your heart.
It was time for you to walk away if you feel that way. But support, it doesn't always mean financial either. People don't understand that. Just a sharing of the post, even commenting, saying, I see you, sis, you looking beautiful today. It just a compliment, anything, that's some form of support, yeah. Because if we supported everybody financially, come on, let's just be honest.
And this one is expensive. But you asked the question, you asked if you should have conversations with your friends.
Yeah.
Like I had said earlier, I think I need, because I've changed and evolved. I remember years ago saying to some close friends, if I ever offend you, please let me know, because it's not my intentions. I used to be extremely curt. Extremely, pretty brash. And I've been learning how to formulate my words that I'm not perfect. I might still say some stuff. But I realized that you may be rubbing the loved ones wrong. And so let your friends know that you're working on something, not as an excuse to take it, but I want you to call me out on it, because the Bible says, to rebuke a wise man, he will love you. You rebuke a fool, he will hate you. You're going to see which one they are when you rebuke them. So I want people that love me to be free to rebuke me in love. You just can't talk to me any kind of way. Because of the fabric of my makeup, I can't take certain type of languages and certain type of tones, and those things will,
trigger you.
It will trigger me really easily. So if you come into me in love to correct me, I'm willing to accept it and work on it.
But you don't know people's backgrounds. Like if you have been through domestic violence, people have to be careful the way they speak to you. Like even your lover or anybody, they have to talk to you with care, because just you raising your tone, even if you haven't said nothing crazy, that can trigger you. So yeah. So.
And I black out, so I don't go into shell that you about to hit me. No, you might want to run, because we done changed some things around here. So I don't want to black out. So don't raise your voice at me.
I've had some friends. I have a friendship that I would go back and reconcile. Not many. I don't go back and reconcile, but there's one because she was a sweetheart. But I was coming out of a divorce, and nobody around me told me that, Cheré, your mouth is
Reckless.
Oh man, beyond.
It's crazy because I never experienced that from you.
I guess you had to be there every day. Yeah. But you never did anything to tick me off either.
Okay.
So I think it was that, and it was a trigger. We all had a group. We were all doing great, guys and girls. We were together. Our text messages were flowing all day, every day, just laughing. Some were in Columbus, Georgia, Macon. It was called the 2 Live Crew, y'all. Oh, nice. I had kickbacks at my house every month. Like, it was just so much fun. And then one time, one person or 2 people did not show up for the overnight, which we put all this stuff together. People drove hours, and it didn't go out the way we planned it. So we decided we was going to do a Zoom call. So we had a Zoom call. It was like a meeting. Come on, we need to talk because you did not do your part. You didn't pull your weight. We put in so much work. You know, it was that. But of course, it had to be me to be the one, the judge. You know, and one of the girls who was really at fault, she lashed out at me, but her and I were so cool, but she lashed out at me and she cursed at me. So coming out of domestic violence, that's one thing you cannot do to me. I will cry if you cuss at me, but I will fight your ass. Like, I don't have no problem fighting, but don't cuss at me. And she cursed, and she was cussing out everybody on the call. Again, I'm territorial. You don't know these friends. I introduce you to them. Don't cuss my homeboys out. It was cuss words like motherfucker, and it was some strong words. And so we both got heated, and they was like, calm down, and we couldn't. Long story short, that crew is not the 2 Live Crew no more. It's dead. 2 Live dead. I don't know. It ain't even dead. No, and part of it is because the loyalty to me. So the crew never carried on because Cheré is no longer here. Now, some of the crew tried to get us to talk, and I didn't want to talk. And she even called me 3 times to try to talk, and I did not receive her phone call. It was a year later I called her because one of my homeboys from the group called me again. You need to call her and fix it. So I did. We went and we met up on New Year's Eve, and we met at Starbucks right before church for the clock strike 12. And we talked about the triggers, and we both apologized, but it took a year, not even for us, it was for me to extend that grace. Like, it wasn't her. Even if it was her, I should have respected that her triggers had kicked in. And so she was on the high, but she didn't know that I also had a trigger of cursing. So we both apologized, but the crew has never come back together. I have had other kickbacks without her. The crew has come together, but it's not the same. And the guys still try to get us together. So if it were one friendship that I would sit down, it would be that person, because even though we hashed it out, we really didn't. But then we went through a pandemic and all of this stuff. And I always say, if you came out of a pandemic that we all went through and you still got beef with somebody, something is wrong with you, right? Because the world has been through too much. So that was something that I had to learn. I did learn grace now, but that's a friendship that I will go back and resolve and actually apologize for. Because nobody told me my mouth was crazy. Now, I looked at a study, and it said just this year, in April 2023, it said that friendships end for these 2 reasons: lack of appreciation or balance. Do you agree?
I would say the lack of appreciation. Balance, I think if you're my real friend, if sometime, even though we don't have to talk every day, if it's a certain point in time, I'm like, I gotta check in. You know, something in your mind, God or somebody gonna tell you, hey, I need to check on. I ain't heard from her in a long time. She not posting on social media, because I've had that. It's a couple of people, and I think we're mutual friends with. They're dead, and I'm just finding out that one guy that used to. I'll talk about it. I'll show you. But two guys that was doing the interviews and trying to be on the scene with the red carpets and stuff. They just stopped posting, and I haven't talked to them in a while. And then you find out they're dead. So you have to, check in on people when you don't see them posting on social media. Depression is real. I'm seeing a lot of young people talking about depression on social media. It could be their career, just working, no balance and stuff like that. So you have to check in. So I would say, if I know you're my real friend and stuff like that, balance. We'll get together. We'll say, hey, we got to meet up. Just like you have the girlfriends, the girls in the city. It's not, all the time, but hey, let's get together. Let's do something. So, and we're real friends. No matter how long time has went, we're gonna catch up. Hey, girl, So, I don't think time is going to break a friendship.
I agree. Do you agree that it's appreciation?
I think that is pretty accurate. Because when we speaking about balance, I can say, like, I'm an only child, so I'm that person that I'll come by your house and I want to go in the refrigerator and like I'm gonna come, but after a while it's like, wait, you don't come by my house.
You're that friend, so I'm a bad friend then. I'm the bad friend.
You're not a bad friend.
She's a friend we have to always
Yes,
call.
but I'm glad that's your love language. I'm glad you're letting us know that that's your love language.
Yeah, for me, again, I'm kind of expecting people out of me. If I come by your house, I expect you to come by mine. But I don't need it as much now, because when you are a people pleaser, you're wanting to, always go after making sure they're happy. But then when you start working internally and doing that shadow work, you don't need it as much. Mm-hmm. But just as it relates to balance, I do think that the relationship should be a give or take. I grabbed the bill this time. Yes. It's not always we gotta go Dutch or you grab it that time. Like I'm going to show you how to love me. Because I don't want it to be so hard, because we do have different love languages. And so you don't have to be exactly like me, but I'm gonna show you in how I wanna love you. And if I see that there's off balance to a point that I need to have a conversation, I'm gonna have one. But it may just be a checkpoint. I know I done been by your house 10 times and you ain't come by once. You know what I'm saying? And I've had all these events at my house and you haven't come by. I don't know. We need to talk about that.
I think balance is very important, because I have another friend. I'm always checking up on her. I'm always, what you doing? Come, let me treat you. Mm-hmm. But she's never pouring back. But she's not a bad friend though. I think it's just her. So yeah, that's just the way she is. Like she's very humble and she likes to stay in, but I need you to, treat me how I'm treating you. So I think balance is very important.
So we got to have that conversation. Yeah, it goes back to that. Because after a while, it's going to be damaged.
So I actually think they're one and the same. Because in finding the balance, there's a level of appreciation that you're showing for that person. It's me willing to take the time out of my day to be in your presence, right? To go to your event, to go to your home, or whatever the case may be. And so I don't really look at them differently. And there's not too many people. There are things that I have to do as an obligation to my position. But outside of that, like I'm that friend. Like for me, homes are very sacred. I don't invite a lot of people to my home.
No, because I ain't been invited. You been invited? No. I said, I bet you she don't come in my house. I bet you Angeline don't come in my house, because she ain't never invited me to hers, and she ain't coming to mine. She can sit outside the parking lot.
I'll take that.
But now I'm just not hearing why you don't invite people to your house.
Yes, like for me, the house is not a hangout spot. That is where my daughter lays her head, where my 2 fur babies are there. That is my safe zone. And so I feel that way with other people's home. And so Even when we were at your house for Valentine's Day, it's like, oh, staying the night, but that's her house. But I went because, you extended that invitation. So it's not too often that I'll invite someone to my house. And then I do feel uncomfortable going to people's home because for me, you just don't hang out in someone's home. You hang out at a restaurant or at a park or something. But taking that time to understand how you guys want to have that appreciation reciprocated is something that I'd be willing to do because I love you ladies. And I want to make
dinner. What day do you want us to come over?
Okay, so about that.
You're cooking.
Oh, and I gotta cook.
have a maid come. I don't care.
So wait,
Can it be in the category of appreciation when your friend invites you to an event and they tell you it's a gala and you dress up in an evening gown?
That's initiation.
Oh, that was initiation.
That's initiation to be her friend.
Okay.
Yeah, you proved yourself.
Inviting us to a gala and it ended up being like geriatric appreciation.
No, it was like an appreciation. I come in a big old ball gown.
You know this one. You and her was show up. You and her.
It was green too.
Yeah, that's true.
It was huge. And I walked in, I was like, what the? I'm going
a
home.
geriatric appreciation dinner, basically. It was like, we're all sitting there like I was on date night. I cut my date night short to go there.
Her husband was mad. He was like,
I don't think he's been to an event since. I told him he's on strike number 2.
I think
he got one more event to miss.
I think that was his initiation and he made it and he was done. That was
I thought it was, man, and I left. And she's like, don't go. I sent the picture. I'm not staying like that.
She wouldn't change.
But I will say, so the first time I came out here, I'm like, damn, it's like an hour away. And they drive all the way down to the south side for my stuff. That was a whole nother level of appreciation I have for you ladies.
Thank you. Lord, thank you. She's sorry. Listen, I want to ask something that's a little deep, but I think it's relevant to women and how we treat each other, how we make friendships, and how we keep their friendships. Do you think that our relationships with our mothers have anything to do with how we friend other women?
My gosh. I thought about you and your mom this morning.
Did you?
Mm-hmm. I did.
Thank you. Is it a good thought?
It's a good thought.
Because I don't have a relationship with my mom. I never have when I think back to it. I was kind of like the Cinderella child. I was really close. I had to do a lot of things. My brother ran the streets and my sister was spoiled. And so I saw my mom do a lot of things to people that I know was just not nice at all, and my father. So I grew up saying how I would never be. And maybe me growing up saying I would never be that made me lose a lot of respect for her. I love her, and I understand now that I'm grown. I had a little brother that got killed right in front of our house. He was hit by a car while she was in a house with an abusive husband. So understanding, I don't know what it would be like if I lost my child, especially at 3 under those circumstances. So I was only 4 when it happened. So through life, I don't know what my mom went through, right? And knowing that she had abusive relationships and things. But I know when she found the good man, she didn't know how to treat him. It was still treated as if it was the abusive men. So we don't have a relationship to this day because of the things that I saw as a child. And there hasn't been much change in that. Not that she's a horrible person or anything like that, but I noticed that I didn't want to have anything to do with females because of what I saw my mom do with her friends. And I was I've always been a daddy's girl. And I appreciated men because and my uncles, I'm just a daddy's girl. My brother looked up to me. It was like, men gonna tell me right and wrong. They're gonna be raw with me. I have my homeboys to this day that's like, no, Cheré, you was wrong. You need to go back and fix it, you know. And females was never that. And so they were always just wavering, never true, never honest, pat me on the back when I was wrong and dumb, and just never holding me accountable. And to this day, it's still, my mother and I are still working on that relationship. So prayerfully that gets better. I still do my part to make sure she knows that I love her, even though she feels like I'm really hard on her. But I think it was that, and God began to show me over the past few years that my ministry is tied to women, because He began to connect me to women who were like me. But I prayed for that too. I prayed that God would put me around women who were genuine in their friendship and who loved me for who I was. And He had put some strong people around me. So I know you have an amazing relationship with your mother. But so do you think that has anything to do with why you're so free in giving grace and why you're so friendly and forgiving? Although you said you're working on it, but.
Yes, I don't have a great relationship with my father, but I come from a line of strong Black women, my grandmother and my mother. So I love women. I'm not gay or anything like that, but I love women more than I love men, because I've come from that strong line of women. And you have that respect from the father aspect. And I love my father, but we got to work on that relationship too. But I love women. I cannot watch you, even if we're not, the best of friends. Your track showing or something, I want to fix it. You know how you just wanted to fix my earring? That's the type of love, even if I don't know you, I want to do for you, because I come from a woman and I just feel like we should love each other. We're women, we know what each other go through. So I have a really, really great relationship with my mom, and my grandmother has passed, but really good relationship with women. So I love women. So I guess that's why I'm considered a good friend, because I'm their friend. And we go through things. I'm not harsh when it comes. I guess because I'm not self-righteous. Even though I was born and raised in the church, my grandmother was a gospel musician, all of that kind of stuff, I still was in the streets. I was in the wilderness. So I've had my share of experience, so I really can't judge. Most likely if you went through something, I went through it. Even though at a tender age, I went through things that some 40, 50, 60-year-olds haven't went through. So if you come to me and talk to me about certain things, I can relate and not judge. So I guess I'm not harsh when it comes to women, because it's just like, okay, we all was stupid. I guess when my delivery, I'm going to tell you about my experience, my dumbness, how dumb I was. And so you can feel comfortable with sharing. Nothing you put on the table is going to make me judge you or, anything like that, because 9 times out of 10, if I didn't go through it, I have a friend or somebody that went through it. Because, like I said, I have categories: dope boys, street boys, gospel people. Like scammers. I know somebody from everywhere category. So I guess that's how I'm able to relate to everybody without judgment, if that makes sense.
Real quick, do either one of you feel like the good or the bad relationship with your mom helped?
I didn't think about it, until you asked the question and then in hearing your response. Mm-hmm. So, yes, the relationship I have with my mother, I now see, does impact how I relate to my girlfriends and also how I parent my child. So, and it's kind of on the extreme. My mother was not very affectionate. She does not just openly say I love you. She doesn't give a lot of hugs. I never got the warm and fuzzy from my mother, but I'm a daddy's girl, so I got that from my father. And so with my daughter, she's 28. She'll come and sit on my lap right now. We will cuddle in bed together, and so I'm overly affectionate with her. But then with my girlfriends, now I'm starting to, how we were holding hands earlier. I wouldn't do that before. But I'm not as nurturing, maybe is the word I want to use.
Is it a trust issue?
No, it's just, I don't know. I never thought about it until now. So I'm literally trying to peel the onion back. But, I'm not as nurturing and loving. How do I want to put it? Love on you, hug you. I don't do a lot of that with my girlfriends as I would my daughter, but that's my baby. But I do think that because my grandmother, you see my daughter take after my grandmother, really small and petite. Mm-hmm. And I don't take after that. And so every time I would go see my grandmother, the first thing she would say to me, the very first thing, "Ooh, girl, your hips getting big," right? And so I'm like, well, damn, grandma, thanks. Hi. Hi, can I get a hello first? But yeah, even with my sister, now we are a lot better. But it was never, I have not got the warm and fuzzies from the women in my family. But the men, oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, because you're daddy's girl.
Yeah.
No. I didn't get affection from my mother or my father. Matter of fact, they both were my first abusers. So I didn't take much of anything from them. But what I've learned, I had spoken in France in 2018, and one of the ladies, she was from the UK, she spoke. She said, we always say this term, women supporting women. She said, I actually think it's more women raising women.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So I've learned how to be with friends. I didn't learn it from home.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's deep. I wish we had time to tap. I'm gonna have to bring you back. I need more time to tap into that. Yeah. How about you, Danny?
Yes, me and my mom have an amazing relationship. Very humble. I think she's quiet. I'm quiet, but always showed love. And I think in sports, we was, we love sports. She was a softball player. I played sports, so that's how we showed love. She was always showing up at my games. And even as a kid, I would show up at her games. I was always her cheerleader. So, but we didn't talk a lot though, but we, showed love in other ways, yes. But yes, I think an awesome relationship. I love her.
And that's why the way
Way
you
I am,
are with
yes.
your friends. Like, I'll be like, well, Danny, did you feel this kind of way? And Danny's like, no, I didn't feel no kind of way. Meanwhile, I'm like, Rhonda, did you feel? Me and Rhonda be like, yep, I felt it too. I felt the same thing. I caught the shade. And Priyanka be the same one. Yep, I caught it. But sis, don't even worry. That's free. I caught it, right? Angelina be, well, now that you think you say that, I did. Well, ladies, it has been a pleasure to have you here on my Girlfriend Edition. This is a special edition that I wanted to spend some time on, and I'm so elated that you came and just kind of opened up and allowed us to see. I pray that other women are impacted and that you are impacted too. And so we're gonna call each other and ask each other, what kind of friend do you see me as? And so that we can be even better. Well, I thank you so much for tuning in. Until the next time, this episode has been sponsored by none other than Say Something with Cheré. We'll see you on the next episode.